You are strapped to a polygraph chair, surrounded by glaring lights that seem to pierce through every lie. Why? Cause you've been charged with aggravated assault just because your neighbor stole your double cheeseburger from your delivery.
The burger double cheese.
You really didn't have to bring out the nunchucks though, but you did anyway. The examiner adjusted the sensors attached to your fingers, chest, and your forehead. His movements are deliberate and methodical. With each adjustment, your anxiety spikes. The weight of your innocence are bearing down on you. Let's begin, the examiner declared, his eyes fixed on the screen, displaying a physiological response. You passed the basic question with ease, but this next question from the examiner went like, Sir, did you do it? How do you get past this lie without getting caught? The polygraph test, or the lie detector, was developed by John Augustus Larson, an American psychologist, and Leonard Keeler, a police officer. With Larson's expertise in psychology and Keeler's practical knowledge of law enforcement, they collaborated to create the modern polygraph by combining various physiological measuring devices into a single instrument capable of recording multiple physiological responses simultaneously. Boy, did they create something remarkable and reliable. Well, almost.
Yes.
Proponents of polygraph testing often claim high accuracy rates, suggesting that the test can detect lies with an accuracy of 90% or higher. However, these claims are disputed by critics who argue that the actual accuracy rates are significantly lower, ranging from 70% to 90% at best. Meaning, is there a chance it can be detected as lying even though you're telling the truth? Yeah, it's called false positive. But what causes it? Anxiety? Stress? Fatigue? The questioning technique by examiner, and even physical discomfort caused by the equipment. This also goes the same for false negative, so it's entirely possible that a person could manipulate the polygraph test by being able to control their own emotion. But who has actually done it? American serial killer Gary Ridgway was convicted of killing 49 people in the early 1980s and the late 1990s. In May of 1984, Ridgway was put on the polygraph test and at the time wasn't even caught or identified as a suspect yet. Law enforcement officials administered the polygraph test to various individuals who were connected to the investigation or considered potential persons of interest. Ridgway was asked a series of questions. Gary, you have heard all the questions on this test. Are there any you're going to lie to? No. Regarding the death of the prostitute, have you told the police the complete truth about that? Yes. Before you were 30 years old, did you ever physically injure anyone without provocation? No. Have you taken any illegal drug or narcotics in the last 48 hours? No. Gary Ridgway was eventually caught in 2001 with the help of advancement in DNA technology and diligent police work. Aldrich Ames, a former CIA officer, was convicted of espionage for passing classified information to the Soviet Union and later Russia during 1980s and the early 1990s. In 1985, Ames began spying for the Soviet Union, providing them highly classified information about CIA operations and intelligence sources. He was motivated by none other than money. He passed secrets to the Russians in exchange for $1.3 million. In 1986 and 1991, Ames passed 2 polygraph tests and did so with great results. Ames said all he had to do was keep calm. Over the course of several years, Ames compromised numerous CIA assets and operations, resulting in significant damage to US national security. Losses in dollar-wise is estimated to be in billions. Ames was caught after the CIA received a tip from the Soviet defector, Vitaly Yurchek, which led to suspicions about Ames. Investigations uncovered Ames' suspicious spending habits and unusual behavior. He purchased expensive cars, luxury items, and real estate despite not having a salary that could support such a lifestyle, which shows the CIA job didn't really pay that much. He was then caught and charged with espionage and pleaded guilty. He serves a life sentence without the possibility of parole. His wife, Rosario Ames, who was also involved, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Fun fact, you could also refuse the polygraph test if the police wants you to take the test. They cannot force you to take a test. You might want to refuse as some corrupt police officers just want you to get nervous and confess to something before even administering it. Even if you decide to go through with the polygraph test, polygraph test results are generally no longer viewed as a strong piece of evidence due to concerns about their reliability and potential use for prejudice, although there may be some exceptions. Here's a famous case where a famous person failed the polygraph test and came out victorious in the court case. was O.J. Simpson, the man who was once one of the biggest American football stars, turned into the alleged murderer who murdered his ex-wife and his ex-wife's boyfriend. According to multiple sources, O.J. failed the polygraph test and scored as low as possible. The examiner tried to convince O.J.'s attorneys that it's evidence of O.J.'s guilt, but O.J.'s attorney began investigating a possible insanity defense. Despite all evidence stacked against O.J., like the bloody gloves, blood trails, DNA evidence, and polygraph results, O.J. ended up winning the 9-month-long trial, even having plenty of support from his fans around the world. But that's for another video. Thanks for watching, and if you stayed till the end or enjoyed the video, subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Do you think you could beat the lie detector test? Let us know.